Little bit of propagation. Little bit of propagation, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. All right. All right, all right, all right. Getting ourselves all set up. There we go. Beautiful. All right. There we go. We are live on the YouTubes. Let me just get the link over here. Okay. It keeps changing itself. Hold on 1 second. 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. Let me fix that. Let me fix that. It always does that. The little glitch thing it does. There we go. Fixed. All right. There we go. Now we should be good to go. There we go. Copy that. Paste there. Boom. Right there. Looking schmexy already. All right. All right, all right, all right. All right. Okay. Got that going on right there. Boom. All right. This going on over here. Boom. Right there. All right. And then all right, get this all set up over here. Boom. Right there. Get this set up right here. Just getting the announcements out, ladies and gentlemen. Just getting the announcements out right now. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But how's everybody doing today? Hope you guys are having a fantastic Friday, ladies and gentlemen. I know I am. And what you guys got planned for the weekend, man? What you guys got planned for the weekend? Put it in the chat. Me personally, I'm planning on spending some time with the family. You know, playing some video games with some friends. You know what I mean? Maybe because it might be a little bit rainy. Actually, let me see what the weather is tomorrow. What's the weather for this weekend? Let's see. This weekend, it's going to be cloudy, maybe a little bit of rain. Ooh, okay, that's fine. I don't mind that because guess what? You know what I do when it's rainy? I sit there, chill out with a good book, and play video games with friends and spend time with the family. You know what it is, ladies and gentlemen. You know how it is. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, look, I'm winning either way. Another blessed day on the Lord's green earth. That's the way I see it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Woohoo! Because, you know, the plants need food too, because the plants give the people oxygen, and oxygen is what we need to survive. Yes, sir. So, can never go wrong with that. Can never go wrong with that. Yes, sir. All right. Let me just put this over here. Boom, right there. All right. Let's see here. All right. We're live on the X. Yes, we are live on the X. Good, good. All right, beautiful. All right, boom. That's set up over there. All right. Share it up on the X. There we go. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right. All right, let's make sure that we are live on the Twitch. Are we live on the Twitch? Yes, we are. Let me make sure the audio works. Yes, we are. Okay, good. Everything works. Everything works beautifully. Perfect. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get this intro started. What's up, guys? It's Double Nix, and welcome to another episode of Microcap Mornings. I am your host with the most. They call me DBL Nix in the house, aka the Rainmaker. And I am here with the lovely Serengeti specialist herself. Oh, 1 second, 1 second. Hello, 1 second, 1 second. There we go. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So, how's everybody doing today? Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are doing well. Ooh. All right. So, what you guys got planned for today? Actually, I was in the middle of doing my intro. Sorry about that. So hold on. Let me start that up again. Let's do that again. What's up, guys? It's Double Nix, and welcome to another episode of Microcap Mornings. I am your host with the most. They call me DBL Nix in the house, a.k.a. the Rainmaker. And I am here with the lovely Serengeti specialist herself. She likes to hang around the tall weeds, the high trees, the low seas, hitting them high knees. Sometimes she likes 2 cups of coffee. Other times she likes to jet ski. Sometimes she likes to get shot out the cannon and she goes, wee! Other times she likes to party and go to Arby's and Wendy's. And sometimes she likes to go and watch videos of puppies and kitties. And sometimes you send her to the stock market. She finds them ABCDs. We call her Divya Moms. Oh, hello. Hello, Divya Moms. Hello. All right. So, yeesh. We got that going on right there, ladies and gentlemen. That is what we got going on. So, before we begin, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as well as ring that bell icon to stay notified when new videos are uploaded. And remember to share, because sharing is caring, ladies and gentlemen. Sharing is caring. And, of course, if you want access to our private Discord, link to join is in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section, so be sure to check that out. We pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We are just made different, and the early bird gets the cash. And if you want access to a wonderful and educational, community-oriented Discord, this place is the place for you. I'm just saying, ladies and gentlemen. It's got a wonderful community, very educational, amazing, fun. Got a lot of scanners, all sorts of good stuff there. So yeah, all good, ladies and gentlemen, all good. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, all right, all right. So there we go. There we go. There we go. All right, all right. So yeah, that's what we got going on, folks. That is what we got going on. All right. So let's get started here. Let's get started with some stonks. We actually called some wonderful stonks this morning. Right here. All right, so we called WHLR. We called it earlier in the morning prior to its run up 123%. Called it before then. All right. Yes, sir. So, yeah, be sure to check it out. Be sure to check out our private Discord there. We called WHLR up 123% prior to, its run up 123%. So we called it early in the morning. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So, yeah, that's what we got going on right there. That is what we got going on. Woohoo. All right. Yeesh. Okay, there we go. We also called SMX. SMX called that stunk early in the morning. Called it prior to its run up 219% on the private Discord. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, and yeah. All right. Yeah. All right. So, yeah, that's what we got going on with that right there. SMX called it prior to its run up 219%. 219%. We also called TDIC. TDIC, really good day today. TDIC, all right, called it prior to its run up 100% on our private Discord. There we go. Boom. Right there. TDIC called it prior to its 100% run. Ran up a nice 100% right there. Did a video on AKAN. Did a video on that one last night. All right. So, yeah, we did a video on AKAN. ran up a nice 44%. Called it on a video last night on our video, which actually I will link over here. Click the link to check it out. Yes, sir. Right there. And boom. Yes, sir. Okay. And then, of course, we called LGHL, which ran up a nice 64%. LGHL ran up 64% right there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then, of course, we called INHD, which ran up a nice 35% right there. 35%. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's what we got going on. That is what we got going on. All right. So, let's get started. Let's get started here. Let's take a look at SMX. SMX ran up a nice 219% earlier in the morning. Early in the morning, as of now, not looking too schmexy, is a little bit expensive. And by a little bit, I mean very expensive stock. But we called it earlier in the morning because it was moving and it was grooving. So, you know, moving, grooving, doing, yeah. So that's what we got going on. Actually, no, I'm pretty sure they said, hey. So that's what we got going on right there. So SMX ran up nicely. It is currently above the VWAP, but a little bit consolidated, still very expensive, needs to break past the pennant and hold above the VWAP for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. But as far as I'm concerned, SMX did have a nice run. SMX ran up a nice 219%. There we go. Boom. Needs to break the pennant and hold above the VWAP for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. There we go, right there. Let's take a look at another stonk. Actually, let me get some graffiti pencil activated over here. All right, so we got this right here, bop and bop right there. All right, so has support at $176.59. All right. Actually has to hold support at 231.85, and then as well as 275.23, and then has to break above 305.70, 336.17, 373.87, and 434.81. Again, very expensive stonk, very expensive, but we did call it because it was moving. So, you know, it's rare we normally call stocks that are this expensive, but when it does move, it's worth noting, you know what I mean? So we called it. So yeah, that's what we got going on, folks. That is what we got going on there. Let's take a look at another stonk. WHLR had a nice run as well, up 123% earlier in the morning. Was a bit overbought on the RSI, currently up 94%, but it did have a nice run, up 123% earlier today. So we got that going on right there. Let's take a look over here. So it has a bit of a ABCD bot right there, and then a little bit of a pennant right there. So we got that going on right there. Let's get a share party going, by the way. Let's get to 200. Let's get to 200, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to 200. Let's get to 200. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So there we go. There we go. All right. So as of now, WHLR currently is above the VWAP, right? Was a bit overbought in the RSI a little bit earlier. Now, it's not overbought or oversold in the RSI, but it is leaning towards being overbought. So it still could potentially move up. Can it break above this pennant? Needs to break above this pennant for it to continue to be schmexy to me. Now, the 9 EMA is, however, diverging from the VWAP, so we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on. But WHLR seems to be climbing its way back up, now up 105%. Can it continue to climb? Can it continue to climb? Yes, it can. It broke right through our pennant right there, so that's what we got going on right there. So WHLR, I'm going to keep an eye on this one right here. All right, WHLR curling above the pennant right there. Bop. There we go. There we go. So that's what we got going on, folks. That is what we got going on. Boom, right there. All right, all right, all right. So there we are. There we are. Yeesh. So what are the stunks we got here? What are the stunks we got? All right. SMX. Let's see how SMX is doing. SMX currently needs to be broken up. Currently needs to break above this pennant right here. SMX needs to break above this pennant right here. That's what we need to do. SMX needs to break above the pennant for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. There we go. There we go. All right. Let's see what else we got. TDIC. TDIC ran up 100% earlier, went back down a little bit. So let's see what happens. Actually, let me get a refreshment in here. Hold on. Let me get some water while this thing refreshes. Yes, sir. All right. So TDIC has some unconfirmed Q3 earnings. Currently up 66% right now. Currently up 66%. Had a nice run up 100% earlier in the day. But right now, currently up 66%. So TDIC had some unconfirmed Q3 earnings that are coming out in 11 days. Allegedly, these are unconfirmed. So in 11 days, it should be Tuesday, December 16th, just before the market opens. That is when these Q3 earnings that are not confirmed are supposedly going to be coming out. Let's see if it's got any news, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see if it's got any news. Yes, it does. All right, so Dreamland Limited, which is the name of the company, secures an $18 million equity purchase agreement. They entered into that equity purchase agreement with Hudson Global Ventures, and it seems like they have secured that purchase agreement. So that's what they got going on right there. That is what they got going on. So that's some good news right there. They got a little equity purchase agreement going on right there. So it has to hold above the VWAP, though, for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. But right now, it's currently doing its thing here. So TDIC has a 9 million float, 42 million volume. So that is good. That is very good. All right. That is a little more than 4 times that of the float, ladies and gentlemen. So we got that going on right there. So let's see here. Bop right there. There we go. Currently on the uptrend, has to remain friends with the trend. 9 EMA is currently below the VWAP, though, so that's a little bit of an interesting little predicament it's got going on there. Has to converge with the VWAP and stick around there for it to be so much messy to me. It is forming a bottom tail, but it is a bottom tail red, so I'm not liking that too much, but can it continue to curl? Can it continue to curl, baby? Let's see if it can continue to curl. Let's see if it can continue to curl. It needs to break above the R. Needs to actually, also, it's a bit overbought on the RSI over here. A little bit overbought on the RSI. So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on, ladies and gentlemen. So, yeah, that is what we got going on. Let's take a look over here. TDIC needs to remain friends with the trend. There we go. Needs to remain friends with that uptrend for it to be so much mexy to me. Needs to do that, ladies and gentlemen. WHLR. How's WHLR doing right now? Seems like it's climbing up a little bit. There we go. See, take a look at that. Woo! Right there. Let me get some support and resistance lines right here. Let me get some support and resistance. Oh, my. 137% on WHLR, baby. Yes, sir. New high a day. New high a day. It's a good day. It's a blessed day. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Woohoo! There we go. Yeah, there we go, baby. WHLR, new high a day. Called it, baby. Yes, sir. WHLR, new high of day. Called it. Ran up 137%. Yeah. Has a new high a day, though. The new high a day is at around, hold on. Actually, let me make this a bit tinier. There we go. 775. That is the new resistance line that it has to break. It broke above it. 135, 139. There we go. Yes, sir. There we go. 139. WHLR up 139%. Yes, sir. Has a new point that it has to break. 788, ladies and gentlemen. 788. There we go. Let's get a share party going on. Let's get the 400. Let's hit the 400, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get the 400. WHLR, new high, up 139. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But looks like it's forming a bit of a double top. We don't like the double tops. We like the double bottoms. But more importantly, we like the bottom tails. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So that's what we got going on, folks. That is what we got going on here. Yeah. All right, all right, all right, all right. So, as of now, WHLR currently is doing its thing right here. Doing its thing. Curling needs to break that double top at $7.63, I believe. 763 was it? Yes, it was 763. Has to break above 763 for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. Has to hold above 678, break through 763, and eventually 788 for it to continue to be schmexy to me. Needs to remain friends with that trend right there. So we'll see what happens there. JFBR, JFBR. Let's take a look at JFBR. All right, JFBR currently curling its way on up slowly but surely. It is a very choppy uptrend. Not a lot of volume for JFBR, so not looking too schmexy. Up 24%, so we'll see what happens here. But JFBR is on a choppy uptrend on low volume. So it needs some more volume for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. Otherwise, meh. IRBT. Let's take a look at IRBT. All right, IRBT on a nice little uptrend over here. Had a bit of an A to B, B to C, C to D right there, and then kind of made a bit of a pennant right here. Has to break above this pennant for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. There we go, right there. Let's take a look over here. IRBT needs to break the pennant that came off the A, B, C, D pattern. There we go. There we go. There we go. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. And ladies and gentlemen, let's get a share party going. Let's get to 500. Let's get to 500, ladies and gentlemen. 500, 500, 500. Let's get there, ladies and gentlemen. SNSE, SNSE. Let's take a look at SNSE. Ooh, this one's below the VWAP right now. Not looking too schmexy right now. Has a bit of a pennant formed right over here and here. All right. Has to break above the VWAP, has to break above the pennant for it to be really schmexy to me. But right now, it is up 20%, 20% as of now. So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on. SNSE. SNSE needs to break above the pennant and the VWAP for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. There we go. Bop right there. All right, there we are. There we are. AKAN. Let's take a look at AKAN. AKAN. How's it doing? How's it going over there? AKAN. All right, so AKAN currently has a bit of a pennant over here. Right over here, needs to curl and break that pennant. Looks like it's trying to curl its way back up over here and break through that pennant, which that's good. That's a good sign, but it needs to break through this VWAP right over here at $1.26. Has some unconfirmed H1 earnings due in 11 days on December 16th during the market hours. So it's got that going on, up 25%. Let's see if it has any news. Let's see if it has any news. AKAN, doesn't really have. Wait, hold on. Let me take a look over here. They had some shareholders approve some share consolidation because there was a share consolidation proposal according to an SEC filing submitted on Tuesday for Aconda Corp, which is AKAN. The resolution authorized the board to carry out one or more share consolidations at ratios ranging from 2 pre-consolidation shares for 1 post-consolidation share to 100 pre-consolidation shares for 1 post-consolidation share with cumulative maximum of 100 for 1. So they basically have share consolidation, to make a long story short, all right? And the shareholders actually approved of it, and that came out today. So it did move up quite a bit after hours, so that's why. That is why that happened. So, yeah, that's what we got going on. Can it curl and break above this little area over here? This little pennant right over here. Can it break above this pennant and break above the VWAP? We'll have to see. Unconfirmed H1 earnings also coming out in 11 days on December 16th. So, we'll see what happens. That's going to be happening during market hours. This is all unconfirmed, though, with those H1 earnings. So, take it with a grain of salt. You know what I mean? So, there we go. All right, so AKAN needs to break above the pennant and the VWAPA. Yes, sir. For it to be somewhat schmaxy to meow. Let's check out WHLR again. Let's see how WHLR is doing. Okay, WHLR did have that double top, went back down, and now looks like it's trying to curl its way back up. We'll see what happens here. Let me get rid of this for now, but it did have that nice little run over there, so that's pretty cool. But it has to bounce off that 678, break through 763, and then after that, break through that 788 mark over there for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. Otherwise, it's just meh. But WHLR, can it do it? Can it curl back up? Can it bounce off that support line? WHLR, can it bounce off the support line? Yes, sir. Can it do it? Can it do it, ladies and gentlemen? Can you dig it? Yes, sir. All right. There we go. There we go. All right. Let's get a share party going, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to 600. Let's get to 600, ladies and gentlemen. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check out our 4-day trial for our real-time alerts and scanners for only $9.99. Link to join is in the description down below as well as the pinned comment section. So be sure to check that out because we pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We're just made different, and the early bird gets the cash. Ladies and gentlemen, we already called 3, count them, 3 baggers, ladies and gentlemen, today. And today alone, it ain't even regular hours yet. This is pre-market. The day just starting already. We calling 3 baggers, baby. You already know what time it is. Yes, sir. All right. And of course, ladies and gents, yeah, be sure to check out that 4-day trial for the real-time alerts and scanners. If you want a supportive, educational Discord with real-time alerts, all sorts of tools, and amazing research items that is education-oriented, community-oriented, and basically the community just wants everybody to grow together and, make a lot of money. You know what I mean? Make some money, have a good time, meet new people, all sorts of good stuff like that. Community-oriented stuff and education with tools. Ain't nobody have tools like us. Come on now. Nobody has tools like we do. Like people say all the time, oh, our Discord's great. My Discord's amazing. My Discord does this. My Discord has an amazing community, and to top it off, it has tools, and it's educational oriented. So there we go, baby. It's got tools to help, and it's got education. What else could you want? And it's got a wonderful community. All right, GURE just popped in. GURE up 112%. Okay, new bagger, baby. Oh, all right. Let me get a pen. There we go. Pen. There we go. GURE shot up to 112%, and then went back down. But well, actually, no, it's still 112%. GURE shot up 112%. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. GURE shot up to 112%, baby. Had that nice shoot up right there. Now it's up 112%, but it is a little bit, not really pricey. It's not really pricey. So, let me actually refresh here. Make sure that this works. Goody. All right. GURE did have a nice movement upward. Right over here. There we go. New bagger, but it has to break above the VWAP, ladies and gentlemen. Has to break above that VWAP and also has to break out of this pennant over here. GURE, new bagger, up 112%. Boom, baby. There we go. Needs to break above that pennant. Needs to break that VWAP, though, for it to be really, really schmexy to meow. But the fact that it did have that nice little run is pretty good. I'm happy about that. I like that. GURE does have is a relatively, I think it might be an IPO or a recent IPO, but it has 2 million volume. Float is currently unknown at this time, but It did have a nice 112% run. So, you know what? And we did call it earlier. So why not? You know what I mean? Why not? Why not? Why not? Why not? Yes, sir. All right. So there we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. Woo. All right. Let's take a look at JFBR. JFBR currently still on that uptrend, up 47% right now. Still on that uptrend. Looks like it's trying to get its act fixed. You know, it's trying to fix its act a little bit. Float is 674,000. Volume is 4 million. So JFBR does have the volume for it. Jeff's Brands Limited ordinary shares, they're up 50%. Currently climbing its way on, up 51%. There we go. Hold on one second. That is my watch. Yes. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's get this over here. Bop right here. Bop right there. Matter of fact, let me bring it a little bit more down over here. So we got support at $3.49. Has to break above $3.85 for it to really be schmexy to mya. There we go. There we go. JFBR currently climbing its way on up right now. JFBR climbing its way on up, baby. There we go. So that's what we got going on with JFBR. Give me 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. Just need some water. All right. Let's take a look at PAVS. PAVS as of now currently had a little bit of a price spike going on here. Little bit of a price spike. Bop right there. All right, but let's take a look at that float and volume. Float is very heavy, 67 million. Volume is 57 million, so it had a price spike on some low volume. PAVS, price spike on low volume right there. PAVS. There we go. All right, there we go. Boom. So that's what we got going on there for PAVS. PAVS actually has some news that Paranovus Entertainment Technology, which is the name of the company, shares are trading higher after the company reported a year-over-year increase in H1 preliminary revenue results. So it's got that going on right there, baby. Ooh. Okay, so PAVS has a nice price spike going on some low volume. Needs more volume for it to really be schmexy to mya. Otherwise, just meh. And let's take a look back at WHLR. WHLR up 115% and trying to curl, ladies and gentlemen. WHLR trying to curl right now. WHLR, WHLR trying to curl. There we go. Boom, right there. Trying to curl its way back up. Can it do it? Can it do it? It broke back above the 678 mark. Needs to break through 788, but also needs to break through that treacherous double top at 761. Needs to break above that for it to be schmexy to mya. Has to prove its love to me. You know what I mean? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So yeah, has to do that, ladies and gentlemen. That is what it has to do. All right, so let's see what else we got over here. Let's take a look at now that we're past WHLR TDIC. All right, again has those unconfirmed Q3 earnings in 11 days, up 63%. Looks like it went up a little bit over here and then kind of just started to form a bit of a pennant and fell a bit below the VWAP. Needs to break below. It looks like a bit of a descending wedge, actually. So, can it break above that descending wedge? Can it curl past the VWAP? Needs to do that, ladies and gentlemen, for it to be so much schmexy to mya. There we go. TDIC needs to break above the descending wedge right here and the VWAPA. Let's get a share party going on, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to 1,000. 1,000, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Yeah, let's get it. 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 Yeah, let's get it. 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 Yeah. All right. So RAYA just came in. RAYA. Let's get it. All right. RAYA over here. A lot of indecisive wicks going on over here. Not looking too schmexy as of now. Not looking too schmexy. A lot of indecisive wicks, but I will give it some support and resistance lines over here. Bop and bop right there. Okay, so has some support at the As of now, 373 mark right over here and has to break above 406 for it to be smexy to me. Is currently above the VWAP, but again, very choppy. RAYA needs volume up 3%. Not looking too schmexy as of now. RAYA needs volume up 3% right now. Needs volume to hold above the VWAP and break the resistance. Very choppy as of now. So it's got that going on right there. It's got that going on right there. And ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check out our 4-day trial for the real-time alerts and scanners for only $9.99. Link to join us in the description down below as well as the pinned comment section. So be sure to check that out because we pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We are just made different, And the early bird gets the cash, ladies and gentlemen. The early bird gets the cash. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You feel me? All right. So, and also our Discord has amazing stuff all over the place. Has amazing tools like the market mover scanners, the newsroom, all that good stuff, but also has a wonderful and amazing community full of people who are trying to basically grow. They like to grow on their own and also grow with the community. They like to basically, and it's also education oriented, man. Very education oriented. We love the education, the edumacation, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, sir. All right. So we got that going on right there. It's a very educational Discord server with a wonderful community of people who are all trying to help each other grow, help themselves grow, trying to grow and become better. It's a very, actually very great server. It's a lot of improvement, a lot of self-improvement, a lot of growing. Education. There you go. Yeah, edumacation. Edumacation going on right there. Little bit of edumacation, you know what I mean? Can't hate on the edumacation process, you know what I mean? Also has a wonderful series of tools such as scanners with hyperlinks, all of which give you access to the ticker, price, volume, float, chart, change in price, whether the stock is moving up or down, all that good stuff right there. A newsroom that has hyperlinks that also give you access to all the news. It has little synopsis of what goes on in the articles. It has hyperlinks to said articles as well as hyperlinks to the stocks that are affected by said articles. Amazing tools, wonderful educational server, and to top it off, baby, it's got some amazing peeps in the community. So, I'm just saying, wonderful community, educational, tools galore, and to top it off, you get that for 4 days for $9.99 for the first 4 days. Link to join us in the description down below, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to check it out. It's practically a no-brainer, baby. Practically a no-brainer. We already called 3 wonderful baggers. Actually, 4 wonderful baggers now. WHLR ran up 123%. SMX 219%. TDIC 100%. GURE 112%, baby. And that was all done prior to the runs. We did that on our private Discord, so be sure to check it out, ladies and gentlemen. Click that link. Click that link. All right? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying. All right. Let's get a share party going. Let's get to 1200. Let's get to 1200. Let's get it. Let's get it. All right. So, now, yeesh. All right. Let's take a look over here at SMX. See how SMX is doing. How are you holding up, SMX? I know you're expensive and all that good stuff, but SMX had a nice run up 219%. Still needs to break through that pennant right there. Very expensive stonk, but wanted to check in on it real quick. SMX still needs to break the consolidation and the pennant for it to be so much mexy to me. There we go. Bop right there. Boom. There we go. Boom. All right, so that's what we got going on right there. SMX, that's what we got going on. INHD, let's see how INHD is doing. INHD still below the VWAP. Needs to break a little bit of a downtrend there. INHD, all right. INHD needs to break the downtrend and the VWAP for it to be so much mexy to me. Otherwise, it's just meh. You know how it is, ladies and gentlemen. You know how it is. Oop, right there. Let me get this over here. Boom. All right. Has to break above that right there. A little bit of a downtrend going on there. Needs to break that downtrend. Needs to break that VWAP for it to be so much Mexi Tumya. Has some unconfirmed Q4 earnings due in 11 days on December 16th. Let's see if it's got any news. Let's see if it's got any news on INHD. Nah, last known news was on November 25th that Inno Holdings was partnering with Megabyte for Web3 integration, and they had a Form 8 that was filed, a general corporate statement. So they got that going on right there. So as far as this stock is concerned, up 22%, but needs to break that VWAP. It needs to break that downtrend for it to really be so much Maxi Tumya. You know what I mean? Not overbought or oversold in the RSI. At one point was close to being oversold on the RSI right over here, but then curled its way back up a little bit more and went closer to being overbought and then went back down, and now it's pretty much indifferent on the RSI, so we'll see what happens there. We shall see what happens. 9EMA needs to kind of go up and converge a little bit with the VWAP for it to be so much Maxi Tumya. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, let's see what else we got over here. PRAX. How about PRAX? PRAX actually has some news, up 31%. Praxis Precision Medicine shares are trading higher after the company announced the completion of its pre-NDA meeting with the FDA, and it gained alignment from the agency. The company announced results from the registrational cohort of the EMBOLD study evaluating relutrigine, I think that's how you pronounce it, for the treatment of patients with SCN2A and SCN8A developmental and epileptic encephalopathies. Encephalopathies. Okay, yes. Encephalopathies. Okay, got it. You had to pull out the medical brain knowledge there. All right, to read that word. That's like a $10 word right there. That's a big word right there. That's a big word. That's a lot of syllables in that word right there. PRAX, currently a very expensive stonk as well. Very expensive, $249. Very expensive. Again, normally I don't really look at these types of stonks, but it is moving, so I'll check it out a little bit, keep an eye on it. A little bit consolidated, though. A lot of indecisive wicks with it. Needs more volume. Up 31%. Is above the VWAP, though. Needs more volume to really break up, though. So PRAX. All right. PRAX needs volume to break, to stay above the VWAP. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So PRAX got that going on right there. Has a float of 25 million, volume of 57,000 though. So it is very low in terms of volume. So needs more volume, needs some vitamin V love. You know what I mean, ladies and gentlemen? And let's get a share party going on. Let's get to 1400. Let's get to 1400. Let's take a look at TDIC. TDIC. All right, TDIC. Let's take a look over here. Still needs to break above that descending wedge. Still needs to break above that descending wedge in VWAP, though. TDIC needs to still break that descending wedge and the VWAP for it to be somewhat schmexy. Boop, tumya. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's see what else we got. What else we got? Let me add them. How's GURE holding up? My newest bagger there. All right, GURE still needs to break above that pennant. Has a bit of consolidation going on. GURE has a 2 million volume, unknown float as of this time. Seems like it might have been maybe a recent IPO, or maybe it's just a stock that recently came into the picture here. But whatever the case may be, VWAP is up here at $14.05. We're going to get a graffiti pencil activated. Let's get some support and resistance right over here. Bop right there. So let's take a look right here. So we got support at $4.15. Has to break above $8.87, $12.57. The VWAP, which is at $14.05, $15.17, $17.77, $20.99, and $26.20, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. So let's get it. There we go. That needs to happen right there for it to be so much Mexi Tumya. Has to break that resistance. GURE needs to break that pennant, break that resistance, and break that VWAP. GURE needs to break the pennant, resistance, and the VWAPA for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. But it did have a nice run up 112%, so I will give it credit where credit is due. It needs to do that, though. Up 82% currently. So can it curl? Can it curl? We'll see what happens. 9 EMA is not going the way we want it to go, so it's not looking too schmexy right there. IRBT came in just now. 7 million volume, 22 million float. Let's see what happens here. IRBT is moving up on some low volume there, is moving a bit upward. So we'll see what happens there. Let's see. Curling up a little bit. Bop right there. All right. Let's see here. IRBT curled above the pennant. Needs more volume to keep the uptrend going. There we go. There we go. IRBT got that going on right there. Got that going on right there. And ladies and gentlemen, let's get the share party going. Let's get the 1500. Let's get the 1500, ladies and gentlemen. 1500 IRBT. IRBT up 22%. Up 22% right there. Ooh, let's see. We got some questions here. We got some people who are asking for. You got people who are making the requests here. People who are making the requests. All right, let's see what requests we got going on here. What requests do we have going on? Oh, okay, interesting. All right, somebody wants me to look at SUGP. All right, SUGP. Let's take a look at SUGP. Not looking too schmexy right now. As of now, currently fell below the VWAPA. Needs to break above the VWAPA for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. SUGP needs to break the downtrend and the VWAPA for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. There we go. JFBR just came in. How's JFBR doing? Let's see how JFBR is doing. Oh my. Still curling its way on up. Broke through the high of day. Up 66%. It just shot up nicely, ladies and gentlemen. Nicely. Yes, sir. Now has a new resistance point at $4.24 right there. JFBR broke the high of day. There we go. JFBR broke the high of day. Up 66% right there. 66%. All right. Hold on one second. Yeah, there we go. Hold on. JFBR has a float of 674,000, volume of 12 million. So it's got plenty of volume to go around. So yeah, that's looking pretty schmexy to mya. Currently moving its way on up, but it is low float. So remember, it could get a little sporadic from time to time, in my opinion, but it just be like that, ladies and gentlemen. That's life. What's life without a little bit of sporadic? AGAE, new stock on the block right now. This stock just came in. Float is 859,000. Volume is 1 million. Currently had a major price spike going up over here. So currently is moving its way on up. Yeah, there we go. AGAE currently climbing its way on up right now. Up 23%. AGAE up 23%. Moving on up, baby. There we go. There we go. All right. Let's see what we got going on, ladies and gentlemen. Let us see what we got going on. All right. Let's see here. All right. Let's see. Let's see here. Let's take a look at some other stonks here that have been requested. Somebody requested TDIC. Let's take a look at TDIC. TDIC currently still needs to break above that descending wedge and needs to break that VWAP right there. So TDIC needs to break through the descending wedge and the VWAPA for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya, has unconfirmed Q3 earnings due in 11 days on Tuesday, December 16th, before the market opens. So that's what we got going on right there. TDIC has news that Dreamland Limited secured an $18 million equity shares purchase agreement and entered that shares purchase agreement with Hudson Global Ventures, secured that entity equity purchase agreement, and is trading higher after the company announced that $18 million equity purchase agreement. So that's what it has going on, but it is currently up 55%, needs to break that descending wedge, and needs to curl past the VWAP for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. There we go. All right, let's take a look over here. Actually, let's give this some levels here. Let's give this some levels. Bop right here and bop right here. TDIC currently got some levels going on over here. TDIC levels, baby. Let's get it. There we go. TDIC. All right, TDIC levels needs to break the VWAPA. Yes, sir. Needs to break that VWAPA. All right, but it looks like it's trying to curl, baby. A little bit of curlage. All right. All right. Has to hold above 42 cents. Needs to break above 46 cents. And then needs to break above the 46-cent mark right over here where the VWAP is. Once it breaks through that, it has to break through 50 cents, then 57 cents for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. All right. All right. All right. Let's see what we got going on here. And ladies and gentlemen, let's get a share party going. Let's get to 1700. 1700. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, to be sure to check out our 4-day trial for our real-time alerts and scanners for only $9.99. Link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section. So be sure to check that out, because we pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We're just made different, and the early bird gets the cash, ladies and gentlemen. The cash. Can't hate on it because it's the cash. Yeah. All right. Can't nobody do it like us, man. We got scanners, we got newsrooms, we got tools, we got a wonderful, brilliant community of amazing and driven people. And to top it off, we got education. Education everywhere, ladies and gentlemen. All sorts of educational content, educational tools, a wonderful community. What else can you ask for? Oh, wait, I know exactly what to ask for, because we also have our Wealth Builder package, ladies and gentlemen. And the Wealth Builder package, by the way, basically gives you everything the real-time alerts and scanners has. Plus, you get exclusive Wealth Builder content. You get exclusive access to a Wealth Builder educational course. To top it off, you get access to exclusive Wealth Builder picks, the Wealth Builder community, and to top it off, you get exclusive access to Coach Nick Money and myself, DBL Nicks, in the house, aka the Rainmaker, PhD in Bangernomics from Big Bang College, BBC. Ladies and gentlemen, BBC. Yeah. Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, BBC. Oh yeah, also a minor in video games. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's what we got going on. Let's take a look at Toro. Toro, come on. Toro. Toro, come on. You know the thing with the guy in Spain with the bull and the little red blanket that pisses the bull off, and the bull goes, wee! And then it tries to hit it, but he misses all the time. And then the guy comes, Toro, come on. Yeah, that's what this is. Toro. Toro, right here. So, let's see what we got going on here. Bot right here. Currently on the uptrend right now. Toro has an 11 million float, 570,000 volume right there. So it does have an uptrend on low volume. Toro. Boom, right there. Toro has an uptrend on low volume right here. Bot right there. Boom. All right, so we got that going on right there. Up 26%. Toro shares are trading higher after the company reported a year-over-year increase in Q3 financial results and declared a special dividend of $1.75 per share. And the Q3 earnings were released today before that market opened, ladies and gentlemen. So right now it is moving up on some low volume. Needs more volume to stay on that uptrend right there. Toro needs more volume to stay on the uptrend right there. Toro needs more volume, love, to stay on the uptrend, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, sir. There we go. Climbing its way on up 27%, 28% right now. All right. It looks like it could potentially be forming a double top. Let's see what happens. Again, it doesn't have as much volume as I would like it to. Me personally, I would look at a better volume than that, but it'd be like that sometimes. It has support at $5.07. Needs to break through 5.36 for it to continue to be schmexy to mya. All right, let's see what's going on here. Stop. Is that your name? ST. Yeah. Anyways, we got a request for INTS. Yes, we could check that out right now. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna check that out for you. INTS. Let's check it out. Let's see. All right. So INTS currently has a bit of a panic going on and a lot of consolidation. Doesn't look like it has much in the volume department, though. That is the only thing I really am worried about. It was at one point above the VWAP and then fell below the VWAP there. So it is below the VWAP as of now. It needs to break that pennant, needs to break that VWAP. And to top it off, it looks like it's very, 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 very consolidated here. So that tells me that it might not have too much volume. Up 6% right there. Let's see if it's got any news going on. INTS does in fact have news. Intensity Therapeutics was granted a 180-day extension to regain compliance with NASDAQ's minimum bid price requirement. So it's got that going on right there because it is 48 cents right there. I'm pretty sure NASDAQ needs it to be over $1. So we'll see what happens there. Intensity Therapeutics is granted a 180-day extension to regain NASDAQ compliance, filed a general corporate statement in the form of a Form 8, and was granted NASDAQ compliance extension right there. So it's got that going on right there. That is some okay news for it, but it needs to get that compliance, ladies and gentlemen. Needs that compliance. Needs it. That's what they need to do. They need to do that on their own, ladies and gentlemen. They need to do that stuff right there. So we'll see what happens there. Let's take a look at the float and volume right here. So the float is a bit heavy, a bit heavy right over here at 57, close to 58 million. I call it approximately 58 million. And then after that, the volume is 932,000. So right now, the volume is extremely low. Float is extremely high. Not liking that too much. That's kind of why it's a bit consolidated over here and fell below the VWAP. So as of now, INTS needs to break above the VWAP, and the pennant right now needs some volume. INTS needs volume right over here to break the VWAP and the pennant right there for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. Thanks, you're welcome, man. Of course. My pleasure. My pleasure. Of course. It is our pleasure. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get a share party going. Let's get to 2,000. 2,000, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to 2,000. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. All right, SMX looks like it's trying to curl its way back up a little bit, but again, it still has a ways to go. But let's check it out. Again, very expensive stock. Looks like it tried to break above the VWAP a little bit. Was trying to test that pennant right there. Was trying to test the pennant. SMX tried to test the pennant. Didn't exactly go well for it, but it tried to test the pennant, and I will give it credit for that. Tried to test the pennant. Again, very expensive stock, $272 and change. So it is a bit expensive. Normally, I don't look at these types of stocks, but it do be like that sometimes. Let's take a look at INHD. INHD, baby. Come on. All right, INHD looks like it tried to break above that downtrend there a little bit, but did consolidate just a little bit over here. Had a bit of a double top right over here. So we got that going on. Bop right there. All right, has to break above that double top and has to break above that VWAP for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. Otherwise, you know what? It just be like that right there. INHD broke the VWAP. Needs to break. Actually, no, didn't break the VWAP. Broke the downtrend. Needs to break the double top and the VWAP for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. Otherwise, All right. So, yeah, there we go. GURE right over here. GURE. Let's take a look at GURE. How's it doing right now? Trying to curl its way on up. Needs to break above that pennant, that little That little $13.90 mark right there has to break above $12.57, $13.90, which is where the VWAP is. 15.17, 17.77, 20.99, and 26.20, ladies and gentlemen. Needs to do that for it to be so much mexy to me. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Alrighty, alrighty, alrighty. Let's get a share party going. Let's get to 2100, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. And remember, ladies and gents, be sure to check out our 4-day trial for our real-time alerts and scanners for only $9.99. Link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section. So be sure to check that out, because we pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We are just made different, and the early bird gets the cash, ladies and gentlemen. We already called 4 baggers. 4, baby, 4. Yes, sir. 4 baggers. We already called a bunch of runners. All right, and we had a video last night. AKAN did a video on that one last night, so be sure to check that out as well, because we did a video on that. We also have a bunch of shorts and other cool things as well, but be sure to check out our private Discord, ladies and gentlemen. Again, 4-day trial, $9.99, ladies and gentlemen, for the first 4 days. All right, link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section, so be sure to check that out, because it is a wonderful place to be. It's got all sorts of tools like the market movers scanner, the newsroom, both of which are excellent for research. It has the hyperlinks, it has the price, volume, float, the ticker, whether it's going up or down, the change. And when you click into those hyperlinks, you also get access to the news for the stock. You get access to the information, the charts, all that good stuff right there. Not to mention the fact that you also get access to the newsroom, which has all sorts of synopses on certain articles, has hyperlinks to said articles, and then hyperlinks to the tickers that are affected by said articles. Amazing research tools there. And to top it off, ladies and gentlemen, you also get access to a wonderful community, very educational. And to top it off, this is a very educational Discord, ladies and gentlemen, so be sure to check it out, ladies and gents. Be sure to check it out. You get the market movers, you get all these amazing things, you get the ticker tape, you get access to all sorts of cool stuff, man. You get access to the greatest community that I've ever seen in my life. All right, greatest community ever. All right, these guys are amazing. They love to help each other grow. They love to grow. They like to lift each other up, lift everybody else up, lift themselves up. It's awesome all around. And to top it off, it's a very educational and fun community to be around. And to top it off, you get extra tools to basically help you along the way. Who does that, ladies and gentlemen? Who does that? Nobody. Nobody, ladies and gentlemen. GURE up 118%, by the way. GURE up 118%, and curling. GURE curling up 118%. Can it break the high of day? Actually, it broke through the high of day already. Sort of. GURE broke through the high, up 118%, ladies and gentlemen. So there we go. Like I said, check out that 4-day trial, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you, beautiful trial, beautiful trial. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, and to top it off, you get, and if you like it, you get it. You know what I mean? You like it, you get it. There we go. That's what we got. All right, GURE, we are actually just a couple minutes away from the bell. The bell. It deafens me. All right, we are 7 minutes away. 7 minutes away from the bell right now. GURE up 109%. Now needs to continue climbing, ladies and gentlemen. Needs to continue that climb. Needs to continue that climb. Needs to continue that grind. There we go. There we go. All right, so GURE up 110%, and looks like it's trying to climb its way on up, ladies and gentlemen. Looks like it's trying to climb its way on up. Give me 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just a little thirsty. I'm a little parched. Let's get it. All right. There we go. There we go. NN asks for AKAN. All right, let's take a look at AKAN. How's AKAN doing? All right, AKAN still kind of has some consolidation going on below the VWAP right now. Little bit of consolidation still. Needs to break above the pennant here for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. Has some unconfirmed H1 earnings due in 11 days on December 16th during market hours. Has to break above the VWAP. The 9 EMA is not going the way we want it to go. Needs to break above this pennant. Needs to break above this VWAP for it to really be somewhat schmexy to me. But as of now, not looking too schmexy because it is a bit consolidated as of now. Let's take a look at the news, see what news it's got going on over here. AKAN does have some news going on. It did have some shares moving up around after hours yesterday because it did have the shareholders approving share consolidation. They did try to do it with a cumulative maximum of a 100 for 1, so they had that going on right there. Let's take a look at the float and volume. AKAN has a 728,000 float. Volume is 15 million, so the volume is more than enough for the float, but, big but, all right, needs to break above this pennant right here. Needs to break above it, ladies and gentlemen. Has to break above this pennant. Has to break above this VWAP for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. Otherwise, it's just meh. Right, there we go. AKN needs to break above the VWAP and the pennant right there for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. Very consolidated as of now, so it needs volume. Very consolidated. Needs volume, love, for it to be so much schmexy to me. Vitamin V, ladies and gentlemen, needs a little shot of vitamin V. You know what I mean? Needs a little bit of vitamin V. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So we got that going on right there. And MDX, thank you for reposting the stream, brother. Thank you. We appreciate that. Much love, man. Much love, much respect. And by the way, I like the Office meme that you got for the little profile picture. Yeah, that's Michael, man. Gotta love that show. You an Office cult man? I'm an Office cult man too. Yeah, we the Office cult, not exactly a real cult. Don't worry. Don't get your head in. Don't actually think it's a cult. It's not a cult. They just call it that because The Office has like this fanatical following because it's just an amazing show. Check it out. It's an amazing show. By the way, Office sponsorship. I don't think you get sponsorships from TV shows, but hey, you know what? It be like that sometimes. So we'll see what happens. All right. There we go. AKAN currently up 24%. Needs to break above the pennant right over here. Needs to break above the pennant and needs to break above the VWAP for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. Otherwise, you know how it is, ladies and gentlemen. Just We'll see what goes on with this stonk right here. Can it break above the pennant? Can it break above that pennant? And then it has to break above the VWAP for it to really be schmexy to me. That's what we got going on. All right. There we go. All right. Somebody requested BENF. Let's take a look at BENF. Let's see how BENF is doing. BENF. All right. BENF, very, very choppy. Not a lot of volume. Needs some volume, love. Not looking too schmexy as of now. Choppy, needs volume. BENF. BENF, choppy, needs volume for it to be so much schmexy to me. We are just 3 minutes away from the bell. 3 minutes away from the bell. Almost 3 minutes away from the bell right there. So we'll see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. We shall see what happens there, ladies and gentlemen. Someone else requested WHLR. Let's take a look at WHLR, see how it's doing. WHLR, ladies and gents. We'll see what happens. We shall see what happens. WHLR had a bit of a double top over here, and ever since then has kind of gone down. So right now it needs to kind of break that downtrend right there and curl its way on up. It needs to break above the VWAP as well because it did fall below the VWAP as well. Was a bit overbought on the RSI, so we got that going on right there. Needs to break above. Right now, it's currently indifferent on the RSI, a little bit indifferent. So we'll see what happens there on the RSI. But it has to break through the RSI. Has to break through that. Has to break. Actually, no. It's indifferent on the RSI. Leave the RSI alone. It needs to maybe go up a little bit, but needs to break through that VWAP right there. Has to have the 9 EMA curl its way on up to break above the VWAP just a little bit, right? And then afterwards, to top it off, has some support lines. It has a support line at 556 right over here. Needs to break above 611, 678, and 788, as well as the VWAP, which is at 606. So we'll see what happens there, ladies and gentlemen. So that's what we got going on for WHLR. As of now, that's what we got going on. Needs to break above the VWAP. Needs to break above that VWAP right now. So WHLR needs to break above the VWAP. Needs some more volume for that. We'll see what goes on with it right now. But WHLR did have a nice run earlier in the day, up 123%. Had a nice run, up 123% right there. So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on, ladies and gentlemen. That is what we got going on. So we'll see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. We shall see what happens, ladies and gents. We shall see. All right. So let's see what other stonks we got going on. And by the way, we are 1 minute to the bell. 1 minute to the bell. The bell. Come on. Give me the bell. The bell. Ah. Come on. There we go. There's the bell. There's the bell. There's the bell. The bell make the ringy dingy. It make the wee woo. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. It make the wee woo. Yes, sir. PAVS now moving. Let's take a look at it. PAVS. Let's see what it's doing. Come on now. There we go. Yes. Very nice. Very nice. Yes. All right. Let's see here. PAVS. PAVS climbing like a rocket here, baby. Yes, sir. Yes. Climbing, baby, climbing. Look at that, 69% right there. PAVS just shooting up like a rocket. Let's get a support and resistance line going on for this bot right there. Currently has to hold above 5 cents, break above 6 cents for it to be somewhat schmexy to meow. There we go. There we go. PAVS currently climbing its way on up right now. PAVS climbing on up. 68%. But looks like it kind of went back down a little bit there. Has a double top going on right over meow. Went back down a little bit because it is a penny stonk right there. So it is a little bit volatile. We'll see what happens. But it did have that nice run up 68%. So I will give it credit where credit's due. That was a nice low run. It is a bit overbought on the RSI though. So we'll see what happens. It looks like it might be trying to go down to kind of compensate for the fact that it went and became a bit overbought on the RSI. Let's take a look at GURE. GURE, let's see how GURE is doing. Currently up 85%. Still needs to break through that pennant right there. Still needs to break through that pennant. GURE. GURE still needs to break above the pennant. There we go. Bot right there. Boom. Right there. There we go. Right there. All right. That's what we got going on. That is what we got going on. All right. 3 million float for GURE. Float is still on. 3 million volume for GURE. Float is still unknown. So we'll see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. We shall see what happens. Let's get a share party going. Let's get to 2,500. Let's get to 2,500, ladies and gentlemen. 2,500. 2,500. Yes, sir. 2,500. 2,500. Yeah. 2,500. 2,500. Yeah. There we go. All right. Let's get it. Let's see what else we got over here. Let's see what we got going on over here. TDIC. TDIC. Let's see what we got going on for TDIC. TDIC right there. TDIC still going down lower. Still going down lower. At this point, needs to break above that little downtrend it's got going on right there and break above the VWAP right there. TDIC needs to break the downtrend, needs to break the VWAP for it to be somewhat schmexy to meow. Looks like a backwards ABCD pattern, so that sounds like it's pretty bearish right now, so not looking too schmexy right there. TDIC needs to break the downtrend and the VWAPA for it to be somewhat schmexy to meow. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yo, moms, you making toast? I hear the little ding in the background. You making toast? You making toast? And you didn't making me any? Wow! Wow! You gotta make it the toast. Make it the toast. The toast. The toast. Good toast. I like toast. Why not some toast? I like some toast. Who doesn't like toast? Here's to you. Here's a toast. Toast. Toast, toast. Yes. That's what we got going on. Yeah. Yes. There we go. That's what we got going on. PAVS. Let's take a look at PAVS. 86%. Yes, sir. Broke above the $6 mark. Yes, sir. Yes, it did. Broke above that double top, too. Yes, sir. Broke above that. 86%. PAVS. Yes, sir. Yes. 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 Up 86%. Yes. Up 86%. New high. New high. There we go. There we go. There we go. Bot right there. New high. New high. And by the way, it has news that Paranovus Entertainment Technology shares are trading higher after the company reported a year-over-year increase in H1 preliminary revenue results, climbing back up, ladies and gentlemen. It looks like it's trying to test that little high a day right there. Looks like it's trying to test that little high a day. It's smacking that bottom like his name was Akon. There we go. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. There we go right there. There we go right there. Yes, sir. Has a little bit of a top tail. We don't like the top tails, DVL moms. We like the bottom tails. Yes, we do. Oh, yes. And ladies and gentlemen, let's get a share party going. Let's get to 2600. 2600. And ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check out that 4-day trial for the real-time alerts and scanners. Be sure to check it out, ladies and gentlemen. Only $9.99. Be sure to check that out, ladies and gents. Link is in the description down below as well as the pinned comment section. So be sure to check that out because we pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We are just made different, and the early bird gets the cash, the moolah, the loot, the cashola, the big bucks, I tell you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, we got that going on right there. We got it like that. We got it like that. That's what we got going on right there. PAVS currently climbing its way on up. Needs to break above that red. It needs to form a green candle. Needs to form a green one. A green. Oh my God, that sounded weird. Anyways. But, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, be sure to check that out because we got all sorts of cool tools. We got all sorts of cool community people. We got a wonderful community full of amazing people who like to lift each other up and grow together. But not only that, it's educational. It's an educational server with all sorts of tools, all sorts of community, all sorts of wonderful, amazing peeps, articles galore with the tickers that are affected by said articles, hyperlinks galore to basically read, get your research in, get an idea of what's going on in the stock market, what stonks we're looking at right now, as well as a wonderful, amazing community to basically spitball ideas to. You know what I mean? So, hey, amazing community, tools galore, education. What else could anybody ask for? Only for 4 days for $9.99, ladies and gentlemen, for the first 4 days. Link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section. So be sure to check that out. Because we pick a lot of baggers a lot of times, ladies and gentlemen, and it seems like a no-brainer. You know what I mean? A no-brainer. Yes, sir. No-brainer. Mm-hmm. Yes. Just get that good stretching. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Getting that good stretching right now. Ooh! All right. Let's see how WHLR is doing. WHLR curling broke above the VWAP once again, curling its way on up. Broke the resistance at 611 as well. So we got that going on. 44. Thank you for reposting the stream. Thank you, brother. Much love to you. Much love to you. Hope you're doing well, man. Hope you're doing good. So WHLR currently doing its thing right now. Let's get a share party going up to 2700. 2700, ladies and gentlemen. We are chilling like villains, ladies and gents. We are chilling like villains right now. Up 93% with WHLR curling its way on up. WHLR did have a high a day, up 123%. Up 123%, ladies and gentlemen. So we got that going on right there. Do we got it like that? We got it like that. Yes, we do. All right. WHLR broke through the VWAP, broke above that, and is currently on a bit of an uptrend right now. So WHLR curling its way on up. WHLR curling broke the VWAPA and resistance. Has more resistance to go, obviously, but it is a good start, ladies and gentlemen. It is a good start right here. So broke through the $6.13 resistance, has to hold above that, has to break through 681 and then 791, as well as that fiendish evil little double top at $7.61, then has to break through 791 for it to continue to be schmexy to mya. Otherwise, you know what I mean, it's meh. But right now it is currently on that uptrend, so there is hope. Good. There is hope. There is hope. There is hope. So 637,000 float, 38 million volume. That's what we got going on. Does WHLR have any news? Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Did have some news that came out yesterday. It came out with a couple of Form 8s and Form 424B3s and completed a stock exchange with preferred shares. So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. All right. But yeah, WHLR doing its thing, up 94% now, 96%, 99%, climbing its way on up right now, trying to get to that new resistance at $6.81, ladies and gentlemen. Can it break through some more? Can it break through some more? Let's see what happens. We shall see what happens. Yeesh, but WHLR stock is trying to stay above that $6.13 mark, has to hold above that mark for it to really be so much Mexi to Mia, but right now it just kind of fell below it, so we'll see what goes on. Now it just climbed above it a little bit. Again, has to hold that mark, though. Has to hold it. Hold the line there. Must do that, right, ladies and gentlemen. It must hold that line there for it to be so much Mexi to Mia. Otherwise, you know what I mean? Not stock advice, just my opinion. Just saying, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. All right. So, as of now, currently, ladies and gentlemen, we are chilling here, just chilling. All right. Got a couple of wonderful stonks moving around here, ladies and gentlemen. Wonderful stonks. Let's take a look over here. Let's see what else we got. Let me at them. All right. All right. That was some good water right there. Some good water. Ooh. Ooh-wee. Okay. All right. So, as of now, it's just doing its thing right here. It's just doing its thing. All right. Let's see what we got going on here. Somebody requested QCLS. Let's take a look at QCLS. See how QCLS is going. QCLS needs to break above that downtrend here because it is on the downtrend here. QCLS down 2% right now. Not looking too schmexy. Needs to break that downtrend. Needs to break the VWAPA for it to really be so much schmexy to Mia. QCLS. QCLS needs to break the downtrend and the VWAPA for it to be so much schmexy to Mia. So there we go. Let's go. There we go. All right. So, yeah. Currently, I see you got toast for yourself. No. It's fine. You hate me. I get it. I see you, DBL moms. Look at her getting toast for herself. She steals my lo mein and now she gets toast for herself. Look at this. What is in the toast? What's in the toast? What is that? Butter? Oh, thank you. Pretty good. There's a lot of butter though. Wow. But, ladies and gentlemen, currently we are just chilling right now with some toast. Thank you, DBL moms. And yeah, just chilling right now with some toast and some butter. Lovely, beautiful morning today. Was a little bit rainy today, though. I'll give it that. It was a little bit rainy, but I will say this. Just chilling, man. Another blessed day on God's green earth. Can't hate on that, man. You know what I mean? Very beautiful. Yeah. Can't hate on it, man, because you know what? The foliage gets greener. Just like, people's stock portfolio when they get into my thing. Gets greener just like the stock portfolio. You never know. You know what I mean? There we go. Yes, sir. So, as of now, ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as well as ring that bell icon to stay notified when new it is uploaded. And remember to share. Because sharing is caring, ladies and gentlemen. Sharing is caring. Of course, if you want access to our private Discord, link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section. So be sure to check that out, because we pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We're just made different, and the early bird gets the cash. The moolah, the loot, the cashola, the big bucks, I tell you. You get access to amazing tools like the market mover scanner, the newsroom, the ticker tape, all that good stuff, and more. You get access to an amazing community of people, all of which are uplifting. They like to lift each other up. They like to lift themselves up. They like to grow and build themselves up and make money. And to top it off, we got an educational Discord, very education oriented, lot of good stuff going on over there. So yeah, link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section. So be sure to check that out, because we pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. Only 4 days for $9.99, ladies and gentlemen. It's a no-brainer. Check it out. It's amazing. And to top it off, ladies and gentlemen, you can find us on our YouTube at Coaching Money. At Coaching Money, you can find us there, where we do lots of live streaming, we do lots of videos, we do lots of shorts, all sorts of good stuff with DBL moms. And also you get the Power Plays, which is hosted by the great, awesome, and legendary goated Coach Nick Money, the GOAT himself, the greatest of all time. All right, especially on Fortnite. He got a dub yesterday, which was legendary. That dub was legendary. Guy tried to roll away in the storm, and he went bing, 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 and he took him out. He got him. But that's how it goes, man. That's how it goes. Legendary at Fortnite. All right. So, yeah, we're going to see you there. That actually is going to be happening at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So be sure to check it out, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to check it out, because that is going to be going on at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And, ladies and gentlemen, of course, be sure to check us out on Twitch at Coaching Money. At Coaching Money, where we do lots of live streaming. You can find us on x.com, a.k.a. Twitter, at Coaching Money. At Coaching Money, you can find us there, where we do lots of stonk reviews, stonk analysis, and other cool stuff, and live streaming, of course. You can find us on x.com, at Coaching Money. At Coaching Money. You can find us on Instagram, Threads, and Facebook. You can find us there at Coaching Money, where we do lots of stock reviewing there as well. And to top it off, you can find us on TikTok, Tiki Taki, a.k.a. the Tac Tac, where we put up a lot of amazing shorts and videos. You can find us there at DBL Nicks, at DBL NICKS, and the screen name is Coach Nick Money. So you can find us there doing that. You can find us on our private Discord. You can find those pre-market picks, those private picks as well, prior to them running. We called 4 baggers. WHLR ran up 123%. SMX 219%. TDIC 100%. GURE 118%. All of which were called on the private Discord prior to them running, ladies and gentlemen. So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on right there. So be sure to check it out. Supportive community, educational, amazing. And to top it off, it's got tools, ladies and gentlemen. Who else does that? Nobody. Because can't nobody do it like us. Just saying. Just saying. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much it for me. Love you guys. It's Double Nicks. I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. I am here with the lovely Serengeti specialist herself. She likes to hang around the tall weeds, the high trees, the low seas, hitting them high knees. Sometimes she likes 2 cups of coffee. Other times she likes to jet ski. Sometimes she likes to get shot out the cannon and she goes, whee! Other times she likes to go to Arby's and watch videos of puppies and kitties. Other times she likes to steal my lo mein, but she did give me toast, so you know what? She's somewhat forgiving a little bit. But for now. And yeah, that's what we got going on right there. That is what we got going on. So yeah, she did call some wonderful stonks as well. She likes to go into the stonk market, get on the Serengeti, and to top it off, she likes to go on in the stock market and find them ABCDs. She did find some wonderful stonks like WHLR, SMX, and TDIC. We call her DBL Moms. Hey! All right, so that's what we got going on right there, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we got going on. So take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful day. We will see you guys later for Power Play, which is a wonderful show hosted by the legend himself, Coach Nick Money, the legend himself. All right, and he basically is going to be going into Power Hour. It takes place before Power Hour, ladies and gentlemen, because Power Hour is very, 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 very interesting, a little bit interessante. So basically what he does before Power Hour, he takes a look at some of the stonks that are moving and grooving, gives his honest opinion about them, reviews them a little bit, takes requests as well. So, you know, if you guys got any requests for him, let him know. He'll take a look. And to top it off, you know, once that's all said and done and he lets the stonks simmer, lets them simmer on low. Actually, no, lets them simmer on high, because that's what he said yesterday. Lets them simmer on high. And then he plays some Fortnite, gets some dubs, gets some wins, kicks some butt, And then after that, he goes back to the stonks. And then it's like a little bit of a back and forth between power and play. It takes place before the power hour. So be sure to check it out, ladies and gentlemen, at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Stay tuned for that, ladies and gentlemen. Set your notifications on YouTube. Set your notifications everywhere else to make sure that you got that ready to go, because he's going to be going live at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Set your notifications, ladies and gentlemen. So that's it for me. Much love. It's Double Nicks. I love you guys. I'll see you guys at 1:30, because I'm going to be co-hosting. And then after that, we'll see you on the weekend, and we're going to have a nice restful weekend. We're going to chill out. We're going to relax all cool, shooting some b-ball outside of my school with a couple of guys who are up to no good, starting all the trouble in my neighborhood. All right? Not going to start the rest of that, because you know what? I'll get on a tangent with that, and to top it off, it will also be copywritten, so can't do that. But have a good day. Enjoy yourselves. Make a lot of money. Be greenable. Remember, you are indelibles. Leave your mark, ladies and gentlemen. You are irreplaceable. You are one of a kind. You are indelible. Check out that 4-day trial, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to check that out. And ladies and gentlemen, peace out. Take care of yourself.